amigos de Wine News TV Puerto Rico, estoy muy emocionado, estoy en el almacén del vino de Fernandez aquí en San Patricio. Me encuentro con el señor Donal Black de Vintners, una bodega de Washington State que acaba de llegar a Puerto Rico de la mano de Fernandez. Una bodega que un hombre muy importante, muy colorido, Charles Smith, es el cerebro, es el enólogo, es el propietario, es un poco el referente principal de esta bodega. Nos regala estos grandes vinos a los consumidores y hoy pues para mí agradezco de nuevo al Almacén del Vino, a Andrés Lugo, a todo el equipo por darme esta oportunidad, por apoyar nuestro proyecto de Wine News TV. Donald, so good to have you here.
Thank you, my friend.
This is your first time in Puerto Rico, right?
First time, yeah, I'm excited. We're excited to move forward with Fernandez and get some of these great wines in the palates of the Puerto Rican people.
So I'm just going to touch for 30 seconds on the fact that about a month ago I had an interview, a tasting with Andres, and we had the Substance, the wines of Substance. I know it's part of the same portfolio, and they kicked ass, man.
Yeah,
they
man,
were amazing. The Sauvignon Blanc, I mean the CS, the Cabernet that was just named as one of the top 100 wines of the year for the prize. I mean, and then the single vineyard. Amazing wines, and I cannot wait to go into this 4 wines. You brought a Chardonnay, and then we have 3 reds. What can you tell us about the winery and about Charles Smith, the man behind it?
The man, the myth, the legend. You know, the stories are all true. He's a savant of what he does. He's a genius in winemaking, self-taught winemaker. You know, came up in from a background that wasn't traditional in wine. He was a band manager in Denmark for about 11 years, moved back to the U.S., originally from California, but moved to Washington State, opened up a wine shop, developed, the first vintage was 1999, and it was 250 cases.
Okay.
So this is the true entrepreneurial story.
Was this a dream of his? Did he decide to follow his dream eventually?
Yeah, I think Charles's vision was to have a small little winery eventually, you know, make wines that he loved and to consume with friends and family.
Right.
And it went the other way in a positive manner.
Yeah, for the benefit of all of us. And
Yeah.
why Washington? Is he from there or?
No, I think he just saw the potential within the terroir even at that point.
He anticipated global warming, I guess.
Exactly. But, you know, at this juncture, we're really starting to come into our own in Washington State in general.
Yeah.
And we like to think that we're a visionary and at the front, definitely at the front of this movement, creating beautiful wines from Washington State that are expressive, genuine, and speak to the people. And that's what we've always been about, is about you know, our labeling is very specific.
I was going to ask you about that. There's a lot of, well, not necessarily color, but art. Lots of them, lot of them are black and white. But why that special packaging and why that K and what does it stand for?
Well, it originally started. K Vintners was the first project in '99. This is where Charles wanted to make really high quality Syrah in Washington State, basically starting in Walla Walla, which is about 4 hours in eastern Washington from Seattle. The black and white comes from Charles's days as a tour manager.
Yeah.
So, you know, back in the
And
old
the
days.
K, the letter K?
K was just a visible letter.
Okay.
And when you say K, you say K Syrah, Syrah. K Syrah.
I love it, like the song, K Syrah, Syrah.
But the labeling comes from, if you look at it, it's black and white, it's distinct. It was the old rock and roll posters that Charles would put up around town when he was doing the band manager.
Yeah.
So that stems from there. We have a Danish artist, a good friend of Charles, that does all our artwork for all our projects. And Charles is really about communicating the language of wine to the people.
Yeah.
So if you have a beautiful bottle of wine at a restaurant and you can't pronounce it, it's awkward for the person you're with potentially.
Yeah.
You know, we have a history of 20 years. We don't have to follow a template at all. We're doing what we want to, and communicating wine to the consumer is important to us, and we've always done it.
All right, so our viewers out there are probably thinking, just shut up and try the wines, tell me what I should buy.
I get that a lot, man.
Yeah,
I get
so
that a lot.
we have the Sixto Uncovered Chardonnay. Tell us about this one, and cheers, my friend.
Cheers,
So good
buddy.
to have you here.
Pleasure.
Cheers, Charles. Hope you get
Cheers,
to see
Charles.
this little bit. What can you tell me about this one?
So this is our Chardonnay project, which is comprised of 4 different Chardonnays. 3 single vineyard Chardonnays, Moxie, Rosa, and this is a combination of the 3 vineyards. It is 18 months in French, native fermentation across the board on pretty much all of our wines. It is an expression of what we feel the high-quality Chardonnay can be from Washington State. The Sixto is in reference to Charles's sixth project. This was sixth project that we launched. And also...
There's also a name, Sixto.
Exactly. And it's pays homage to Sixto Rodriguez. If you've seen Searching for Sugarman, you can probably put it together. But it's a rebirth of sorts. And Charles wanted to bring
And the uncovered part, is it because of...
Uncovered was we're recovering, uncovered a varietal that had been kind of put aside.
Okay.
We feel in Washington State. So this is the uncovered. This was number 13. In Spectator in 2017.
It's big on the palate. It has a lot of flavors. It's obviously very expressive. I mean, Charles' style tends to be like that, and then it coats and it definitely grabs the whole palate. It's a big boy, but then it has certain agility. I know a lot of people out there will love this one. What would you pair this with in terms of wine food pairing?
It's a great question. I mean, when I'm asked that, I think it's you pair it with what you're feeling in that day. Just I wanted to touch on just the vein of where you said these powerful looking wines, or our oak program is managed really well. We don't over oak. We manage it. We integrate it. We find it over oaking is obviously hiding flaws, and we prefer to let the wine express itself.
Lots of makeup. Lots of makeup.
So when you look at our lineup, you look at Charles, you look at bold, brash, powerful. But our wines are very elegant.
Yeah.
Our wines are almost in a feminine way.
Yeah.
They are long and lean and sleek, and you'll find that through our whole lineup.
Does Charles, when he makes this chart, does he wants to pay tribute, or does he take some inspiration from Burgundy, from the wide chart?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think you'll find that again in all of our projects. Brendan Layton and Charles both have a palate for definitely.
So I get Court and Charlemagne, Pouligny-Montrachet here, a little bit of that wink to Burgundy.
Absolutely.
Like you guys are the masters.
Hey, we're not trying to be it. We're trying to do those old winemaking traditions in our terroir.
But it's a Burgundian inspired, but those grapes are basking in the American sun.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Let's go to the second one.
Sure.
What can you tell us about this? This is the power line, right? We're having a Grenache?
We're having Grenache.
Okay.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about this one?
So this is the boy Grenache. Grenache generally not the nose is fantastic on it. Grenache isn't growing in large amounts in Washington State. We have a couple of little parcels. This comes from our Powerline vineyard, which is one of our state vineyards. So it's a little higher elevation.
I don't know anything about wine, but if I were to be given this blind, I don't take this as an insult, but I would think old world Pinot Noir. It's so complex, ethereal, elegant. And remember, I'm a consumer, but this is so elegant on the nose. You get a lot of clove, spice. You have that delicious note of freshness, of herbs. I mean, remember that Grenache is made in the Rhone, and it's just beautiful. Now it's taking me to Châteauneuf-du-Pape a little bit. It's so elegant. I had never had it before. Pardon the interruption.
No, the Rhone, the K Vintners is comprised of Rhone varietals all through it. We have 27 wines in this collection. A majority of them are Syrah based, but whole cluster press generally, all native fermentation. These are boutique wines. These are cult wines, low production. We're producing at the high level in our K portfolio, 1,400 cases, until 130 cases, which is a wine called K Phil Lane, which is Charles's house.
It's so long in the palate. You get that menthol. Its structure. It's linear, but it stays with you. Has a little bit of freshness. Medicinal, not in a bad way.
Right.
Medicinal
I know
in
where you're
going. Medicinal in a sort of freshness. I get a little bit of mustard seed. I'm getting a lot of things in this one. This is magnificent, and the finish is it's going on for 45, 50 seconds now.
Yeah, and you'll find that across the lineup. I mean, they are long finish. These are wines that are meant to be enjoyed now, but also could age for.
Why
for
the boy? Why the name the boy?
The boy. We can read it on the back.
Okay. I'm the boy who can enjoy invisibility. I love it.
It's a song, I believe, that Charles enjoyed and decided to.
This is not invisible at all. This is a serious wine. It's a showstopper. But again, you have the same thing that I found in this chart, where you have, power and control and finesse and elegance and expression. Certain wines, and I've said this before many times, either impress or express. But here you have both.
Yeah.
Very well made wine. My
Yeah,
friend.
they do a good job. Charles and Brennan are amazing.
And it's got that saline, like mineral, sort of drying finish, and a little amaro, a little bitterness that is so gastronomic. It's so good to clean the palate. Wow. Very good wine.
I think even on our next wine, when we come up to it here, you'll find that Washington State is we have 300 days of sunshine.
Yeah.
But we also have a terroir that is very different than anywhere else. We're a lot of volcanic, a lot of calcium, a lot of limestone. So where you're getting that minerality, that vein, is across the board, and our terroir is very different.
And the licorice is coming up, the underbrush, that liqueur vein, like cherries in maraschino cherries in liqueur, amazing. Okay, let's go to the third one. What do we have here? This is the Syrah Powerline Vineyard. So same vineyard, different grape.
Same vineyard, different
Darker,
grape.
obviously.
Yeah, this is again Walla Walla, where it all started. This is our famous wine, if you want to call it. This was number 2 on Wine Spectator's Top 100 in 2017. So we had the 27. We actually have 2 here. I didn't realize that. Number 2 and number 13
Okay,
made that
well,
list.
for a long time, you guys, and still are, of course, but I know your labels just because of the fact that whenever you have very high scores in Wine Spectator, you're not on the list, but rather up front where they show the labels as well. So I would see this K all over the place. Again that K. I mean, and now I'm tasting this, I can't believe it.
We've been fortunate, and it shows the hard work of our winery that we are blessed with scores, incredible scores. Average score on the K line is 95 points and up. We've had 100-point wines. Charles has been the only winemaker, the first winemaker in Washington State to have a 100-point wine. He's also been winemaker of the year twice, which
he's a genius. I mean, hopefully we'll have him in Puerto Rico someday, or I'll eventually end up in your neck of the woods.
Hey.
This is again, I believe the answer is yes, just because he's so colorful. Does Charles like throwing curveballs? Because you think that this is going to be massive, chunky, oaky, but it's so freaking elegant. It's a Syrah reminiscent of, again, the Rhone Côte Rôtie, and it's velvety, and you got the pepper, you got the meats, you got the spice, little menthol, fresh notes. It's a beautiful.
This is a special vineyard site. This is close to Charles's heart, I know, and it's an estate. We source for some of our substance wines in our vino lineup at Source Fruit, but this is one of ours, and has a special spot for us.
Unbelievable, and I see a pattern here. I see a trend.
Yeah.
I see this same philosophy of letting the soil, the dirt, the terroir express itself, and not use that much makeup. Let the earth speak. Delicious. Well, this calls for something on the grill, something charred,
yes.
Something smoky, right? Very, very, very good wine, my friend. Delicious. Oh, let's get to the last one. The last one has a cool, kick-ass, rock and roll, rock city Syrah. Tell me about this.
The Royal City, man. This is 100% Syrah from Stone Ridge Vineyard.
Oh, I didn't ask you that. This is 100% Syrah, the previous one?
Yeah.
Boy, 100% Grenache?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so tell me about this one.
So this is a wine that's been in the lineup, I believe, since close to day one. Long-standing K wine. This has had the upper scores, 98s, 99s over the years. A cult wine. We do 2 releases a year of what we call these, release wines. And, there's small production on this. We're probably under 1,000 cases, and that gets divided through 50 states in the U.S., and we're currently, I take care of 26 countries abroad. So you can imagine the allocations aren't very large for different countries, so if you do see it, I would advise grabbing it. This is a world-class Syrah, quite different in style in comparison to Powerline. But again, it's still the same vein. You're still getting that same comparison from Syrah to Syrah, that minerality, that long palate, and just a very well integrated wine.
It's very well made. They're different.
Yeah.
I think this is a little bit chunkier, a little bit bigger. It's delicious as well. Let me ask you something. So you've been here for 2 days. What do you make? The questions you've been asked, the interest, the curiosity of the Puerto Rican people you've interacted with.
I think there's the level of education towards wine is definitely on a growth. The interest, the questions, we're all in the right manner. I think that this country is probably at the tip of some great things happening here as far as wine consumption, wine offerings to the consumer, and I'm just glad to be a part of it at this juncture.
This is the first Latin American country where you have your wines.
Yeah, so I think the consumer is, it's a younger demographic that's picking it up and running with it, and I think that's why our wines would be a great fit here, because they speak to that demographic as well as they speak to a mature audience too, because of the quality. You can't have labels like we have if the wine doesn't match up to it. You'll never sell another bottle of it. So I
know that you guys make other wines, and eventually they'll get to Puerto Rico. You're in that process right now, but Charles is always inventing. He's always coming up with new projects, new things. He's getting involved. He partners with other people for non-for-profit causes. I'm very glad. I'm very impressed with these wines. I'm sure that these wines have something that I call the mutation element. You go back to the glass and they change, they evolve. After a couple of minutes, you go back to them, and it's a different wine. In terms of aging, I'm sure you've had these wines from 10 years ago. How do they age?
Yeah, I mean, the reason we put a higher grade bottle in is for that aging factor. 8, 10, 12, 12 years, easily.
Donal, thank you so much. I'm sure you guys are going to have great success in Puerto Rico. I mean, the Puerto Rican consumer, the Puerto Rican palate is in love with American wines, and with wines that are gastronomic, with wines that have cool labels, cool stories, and great quality. This is top-notch juice, and I love the fact that sometimes, and as of late, perhaps there's a trend of coming back to minerality and coming back to restraint, but people not necessarily think Syrah as a wine to pair with food. These are very gastronomic wines. I mean, these are well made. They stay under the 15% alcohol volume. They're very, very, very well made. Thank you, my friend. It's been a pleasure. It's been great.
Thank you for having me, brother.
Amigos, han sido unos vinos extraordinarios que he probado de Vintners. Acaban de llegar a Fernandez. Tomamos un Chardonnay exquisito, muy grande, no necesariamente un vino goloso, pesado, sino dinámico, y 3 vinos tintos, una garnacha y 2 Syrah extraordinarias. Agradezco a Fernandez, agradezco a toda la familia de aquí del Almacén del Vino que nos han apoyado desde el día 1 en nuestro proyecto Wine News TV. Recuerda suscribirte en WNTVPR para recibir nuestro contenido. Será hasta la próxima y salud. ¿No?
Salud.
Salud. Thank you. So good.